Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Glad to be with you. I just want to go into a couple of things, 4 or 5 items that I'm kind of getting into right now. First one is just got this baby in the mail a couple weeks ago. Haven't even unwrapped it yet. This is David Lynch's Inland Empire movie, Blu-ray, Criterion Collection. You can get this on Amazon right now. I think it's $32, $33, something like that. Excuse me. This is kind of the lost David Lynch film. It was previously hard to find, unless you saw it in the theater, which I think it had a very limited run for a very short period of time. Not his most famous work, but some people love it. Some people claim it as a masterpiece. If you're into Lynch, like I am, you kind of like pretty much everything that he's done. So up until this Criterion Collection came out, it was almost impossible to find this on a Blu-ray. I think there was one floating around, but it was not in the not encoded in the region that we need to watch things here in the States. And I think there was a DVD that maybe you could get, but it was north of $50 or $60. So glad that this is here now. I have not seen it, so it is the only film that Lynch shot digitally, or I believe the first film he shot digitally. He might have shot Twin Peaks Season 2 on digital, but Inland Empire came first. If I recall correctly, the release date was 2006. So looking forward to watching that, and I'll let you know when I do. Coming up next, I'm going to get into deeper detail on this on the channel. This is a very worn copy of the Batman Chronicles, very worn. As you can see, I've been placing a number of bookmarks in there. Let me give you an example here. On this particular page, I put a post-it. Got some other, quite a few of these. Man, you gotta love that logo, right? Just love them. So this is Batman Chronicles, Volume 1. I think this was a library copy. I picked it up used at 2nd and Charles, which if you've got a 2nd and Charles in your neighborhood, go check them out. They usually have a pretty good supply, at least mine does. The Batman Chronicles are all of the Batman stories in chronological order. So starting with Volume 1 is the first appearance of Batman, obviously, but also Robin, and also the Joker, and also Dr. Hugo Strange. So in the back cover here, they give you, you can see them. And the thing that interested me most about this book, and I do obviously love Batman and Iron Man, the thing that interested me about it the most is I'm a huge fan of the movie Batman versus Superman. I know a lot of people hate that movie. A lot of people are indifferent to that movie. And we'll get into the reasons why I love that movie later on. I've been badgering my friends with how much I love that movie ever since it came out. I actually wasn't the biggest fan of it in the theater, the theatrical release. But the Ultimate Edition Blu-ray, in my opinion, is one of the best superhero movies ever. So we'll get into that, trust me. Anyway, being a Batman fan, and lately I've been on this Batman kick where I've been watching the Batman animated series on HBO Max. They've got all of the seasons there. First season is a delightful slog. It's 66 episodes, I believe, and I'm into season 2 now. But along the way, that got me wrapped up into Justice League season 1. I'm in Justice League season 2 now of the DC animated studios. And I just started Superman, the animated series as well. So the DC animated stuff from that period of time starting with the Batman animated series, in the mid '90s, early '90s, mid '90s, what have you, early 2000s, I think, for Justice League. It was pretty good stuff, and so I've been binging that when I can. So I'm a fan of the voice acting for sure. I mean, everybody knows about Kevin Conroy and as Batman and Mark Hamill as the Joker. But there's some other great voice work in all three of those shows. And the writing, for animated shows, even though these were, marketed for kids. I mean, if you're a superhero fan, and if you're into DC, and I'm into DC and Marvel and a lot of other stuff, these are worth checking out if you haven't done so. I clearly can see why the Batman show got so much accolades. I'm not ready to say it's the definitive version of Batman like some people online claim, but it is very good. It is very good. Anyway, what I realized reading this is that Batman from the get-go starts knocking off, in other words, he starts killing criminals at a pretty alarming rate. So, it wasn't until later on when this whole no guns, Batman, no killing thing, came about. So, let's think about what the original creators wanted, So clearly, originally, from the get-go, Bob Kane was very cool with Batman killing criminals. And he's racked up quite a body count in this book. And I have them bookmarked. So I've created a Batman kill list from volume 1 of this book, and we're going to go through that in another episode. And I'm going to show you more of these pages. So this channel's not just going to be my mug talking all the time. It's mostly going to be, looking at beautiful books and beautiful comic artwork like this. So yeah, it's very interesting. I found that to be extremely interesting. I had not actually read these original stories, and if I did, it was so long ago I forgot. So and it's worth going back and checking out the original Batman stuff from Bob Kane, because it's just amazing. It's great. It's just beautiful stuff. The artwork is unique. It's simplistic by today's standards, but in the context of the time that it was created, yeah, it's just I just love the stuff. I just love it. I almost probably can't even describe why I love all of it, but I do. But a lot of people had issue with Batman killing people in the Batman versus Superman movie. A lot of people. And they were vehemently opposed to that concept, and to the point it may have damaged the box office receipts of the movie, plus the fact that it wasn't that great of a movie initially when the theatrical release was put out there to the world. Warner Brothers executives clearly meddled in the creation of the film and messed with the edit and so forth to make it kind of a confusing storyline. When you watch the Ultimate Edition, I wouldn't say it's a totally different movie, but it's a much better, improved movie. So, in my opinion, and that's what this channel is about, is my opinions. So, but one of the big things people were freaking out about was, oh, Batman's killing people in this movie, and Zack Snyder, the director, and I assume had much input on the writing. I don't know if he directly wrote it, but it was his story. Has explained time and time again, while that particular Batman, played almost perfectly by Ben Affleck, why that particular Batman was killing criminals. So for the people that were trying to make the argument that, well, that's just not his character, the source material, everyone's going on about the source material. Source material has him killing criminals. All right. The other stuff I'm getting into, same thing, Second and Charles, I picked up this baby. DC Archive Editions, All-Star Comics. So, Justice Society of America. I got these for like $12 a piece. I mean, it's in perfect shape. I got volume 6. I've also got volume 7. I just started reading volume 6, and this thing's in mint condition, for a hardcover. Yeah. But I mean, it's quality paper and whatnot. It's obviously not a floppy, but you know, I just love this old stuff. I love these, you know, war period comics, this sort of pre-Marvel, even, you know, pre-modern, you know, bronze and silver DC. Yeah, this golden age stuff is great. You know, there's a certain certain simplicity to it that is appealing to me. And you can see I got a little gray here, so I guess I'm a comics old timer. Let me show you just a little bit more of this. Here we've got, you know, some Johnny Thunder page. And about 20 pages into this, it's interesting because one of the first couple of the stories that start out are basically propaganda. They're basically World War II propaganda against Germany, and they detail like the history of Germany and how they are a warmongering country and always have been and have always desired to take over Europe and so forth. It's amusing. It's interesting to see how countries, both, you know, all countries do some amount of propaganda in their entertainment. They were doing it back then, and of course it happens today. Not to be political, I mean, it just is. It's a tool. You know, I think everybody who's paying attention realizes, whatever spectrum you're on, that propaganda is, you know, it can worm its way into entertainment. In these all-star comics, though, it was pretty blatant. You know, it was pretty blatant. So anyway, we'll get into that later. That's one I want to review on the channel. Another thing I just started reading, Star Trek New Visions by John Byrne. This is interesting to me because it's done in photo novel format. So what they did here is took a lot of the old Star Trek stills, and you may not know this, but Star Trek used to have photo novels of their episodes, and I've got 2 or 3 laying around here somewhere that I collected as a kid, and I loved them. And they're basically just, you know, they're pictures, images from the actual episodes, you know, placed into sequential format of the episode, and then, you know, the word balloons are added to reflect the dialogue, and they call them photo novels. So what they've done here with New Visions is they've taken that format, but they've taken a lot of that material and sort of reconfigured it using, I'm sure, Photoshop and probably Adobe Illustrator and so forth, and made new stories. So the first story from issue number 1, you know, is basically sort of a sequel to, I believe, the pilot episode of Star Trek, where the character of Gary Mitchell obtains godlike powers from them passing through the barrier at the end of the galaxy. And that is one of the best episodes of Star Trek ever. And I would argue probably one of the best items of science fiction put to TV or film. You can see here another. You know, it's basically they just took a lot of, and sorry about the glare, but, you know, got to make the face look good. Oh yeah, here it goes. Got some Klingon action, you know, messing with some Klingons. So, you know, I just love the stuff. And as I'm reading this stuff, you know, it's the original series cast, so it's Kirk and Spock, McCoy and Bones and so forth. You know, I can't help but hear their voices. They did a fantastic job with the dialogue in these comics. I mean, the dialogue in these comics, especially among the 3 main characters, Spock, Kirk, and McCoy, is very, you know, it's right up there with what you would expect them to say if this were an actual television episode. So, you know, let me see if I can give you sort of an example here. Yes, Spock to Captain Kirk. Kirk here. Sir, I am detecting changes in the energy readings. I recommend we return to the Enterprise to scan with the equipment there. Negative. You have my orders, and that's the end of the discussion. You and Mr. Spock will return to the ship to scan the planet. I will remain here to search this immediate area on foot. Is that clear? Acknowledged. Spock out. Jim, stop being so damn pig-headed. Whatever's down there, we can find it 100 times faster. That's enough, Doctor. You know, so you can just hear the voices of those characters in your head. I mean, the dialogue is like, it's right out of the show, you know. So I think there's 7 or 8 volumes of this. This is volume 1. I'm digging the hell out of it. You know, can't wait to read all of them. May have to sit down and read all of them in one 24-hour period. I don't know. Oh, look at this. This is beautiful. You know, some sort of, they get the Enterprise in flames there. You know, how many times have they blown up the Enterprise now? I'll have to do a whole episode on that. Anyway, I've got volumes 1 and 2 of this. Maybe a couple of other volumes. I'm trying to get the complete set. So as I come across them in comic book shops, I've been picking them up. I think I snagged, they're on Amazon too. I think I snagged some from Amazon. So, you know, but I enjoy kind of finding stuff out in the wild, which gets me into trouble because then I end up buying a lot of duplicates too. You know, so what do I do with duplicates when I find them? Well, I don't flip them. I donate them. You know, I just put a value on them and I donate them. It doesn't happen too often because I'm so far been able to keep in my head my inventory, which I don't know how I can possibly do that because I have an entire room, not this room here, an entire room that's stocked with comics. And then of course there's the long boxes that I mentioned in the last video, the 80s long boxes that I'm going to start going through. But as far as my graphic novels go, trade paperbacks, manga, that kind of thing, I kind of know in my head what I've got, but I really need to I really need to get one of those apps where I can you know, catalog what I've got, because it does tick me off when I'll come back with a haul of comics and I'll be going through them and I'll be like, wait a minute, didn't I already have this one? You know, didn't I already buy, you know, BPRD, you know, Hell on Earth Volume 3 before? And lo and behold, there it was, you know, in my stack of stuff, and that actually happened. So that's one example. So I ended up donating that to Goodwill. So my local Goodwill has a lot of really cool comics and books if you go down there. I don't know how long they last, but you know, it's just part of spreading the joy, man, you know? So so that's what I'm into right now. God knows what's going to be next. I might even discover something tonight that I'm getting into. But yeah, I'm gonna show definitely that Batman. We're gonna get into that. I got to do some prep work for that episode. And you know, it's just fun to look at that old stuff. You know, after I finish All-Star Comics, I'll probably do an episode on that. And a funny story about that too. I bought volumes 6 and 7 together. At the time when I found them, Second and Charles also had volumes 3 and 4, and there again, I thought that I had them already. So there, my failing memory failed me. I thought I had them already, and I was like, do I have these? I think I have these, so I'm not going to buy them. And I thought, okay, well, here's my compromise. I definitely know I don't have volume 6 and 7, so I'll buy volume 6 and 7. I'll go home and I'll look, and if I do have the other ones, cool. You know, I avoided the trap. If I don't have them, I'll come back and get them. You know, so I go home and I check, and I don't have volumes 3 and 4. In fact, I have absolutely none of these archived DC editions of All-Star Comics. You know, I don't know why I thought I'd bought some other ones in the past, you know, like Challengers of the Unknown and you know, maybe some other stuff. But so I go, you know, the next day I go back to Second and Charles, and of course, wouldn't you know it, they're gone. Somebody snapped them up. Because you don't find these out in the wild too often. You can get them on Amazon, kind of scattershot. You know, some of them are like 60, 70 bucks used. I think there's a few new ones still floating around on there. I haven't checked eBay yet, but again, you know, I'm keeping a running list, and when I come across them in the wild, I snag them. I think there's 10 volumes of these. And yeah, you know, one way to solve this problem is to just get the All-Star Comics Omnibus. I'm sure it exists, you know. But where's the fun in that? You know, you just get it all big book in one fell swoop, and I'd rather just kind of piecemeal these together. And but who knows? I might change my mind and just spring for the entire damn omnibus. I've done it before. I have quite a few of those big omnibuses, and I love them. The one I'm currently reading now is Doom Patrol from the Bronze Age, and you know, that's a really good book. I love Doom Patrol, love it. But I've that monster is like 1,400 pages. So I'm only like, I don't know, 200 pages into it. So I got a long way to go on that one. So that's one we can get into also. Limitless supply. The thing about the comics game here, you know, there's a limitless supply. Even when I was beginning to collect as a kid in the 80s, there were already so many comics out there, you know, and that was before the indie explosion. That was before Image, you know, before IDW, you know. Pacific Comics had just came on the scene. Eclipse Comics had just came on the scene. Marvel and DC were, of course, the juggernauts doing their thing. You know, and you had peripheral comics like Warren Comics, and you know, you had Cerebus, and I think Love and Rockets was just getting started around then. So you had this, you know, you had a decent sized market for current comics and back issues, but now it's just, I mean, the inventory is just insane. And in a few weeks here, I'm going to find myself in Denver for work, and I'm going to be making a trip to Mile High Comics in Denver, which is 65,000 square feet of retail selling comics. And you know, I can't wait for that trip, and that's going to be a full episode. I'm probably going to get enough material out of that for quite a few episodes, but I do intend to film inside the store if they're cool with that. I can't wait. I know there's going to be more there than I'm going to be able to carry back with me on the plane. You know, I might spring for some shipping maybe, but we'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to be keeping room in my suitcase and bringing a couple of empty backpacks with me. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, I think that wraps up this one. I am excited to get into the rest of these comics, movies, and other materials. Some of the other things we're going to be looking at are the art of books, like the art of Iron Man, the art of Superman, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I love collecting those types of books. I'm a huge fan of those books. I think it's endlessly fascinating to look at concept art for these properties, for sci-fi, fantasy, and superhero films and TV shows. And I've had the good fortune of buying some of these and seeing them go out of print, and seeing the price go up. You know, and you can flip those. I don't. It's not to say I never will, but right now I'm collecting, you know, and holding on to everything I get because I enjoy looking at this stuff, and now I'm going to enjoy sharing it with everybody. So that's what this channel is about, documenting my obsessions with geeky things, books, movies, TVs, comic books, you name it. And until next time, stay geek.